you for tuning in to episode, I think number 4. And guess who I have? My lovely mother. If you can't tell, we look somewhat similar. I'm not sure. Most people think we're sisters, but almost everything
Before I had all these wrinkles and gray hair, they used to think we were sisters.
She's beautiful inside and out, and almost everything I know comes from her. So who better to have on the podcast than my own supermom. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, honey.
Lots to talk about, that is for sure. So we actually had to take our topics and take a couple of them out and focus on just 3 because we could probably talk for hours. We usually do.
We do. Yes, we do.
It's some of my favorite memories. But Mom, let's start with this one, the obvious. She raised 5 kids.
5 kids, yeah. Why do you think of all these gray hairs? But I color them, that's why.
5 kids.
Thank God for
my
hair
gosh.
dye. Yeah.
So few families have 5 children now because it's hard.
It's hard. It is hard, yeah.
So what was life like raising 5 kids? On a farm, by the way.
Well, that was the beauty of it because we had the farm. There was a lot to do and everybody stayed busy. So that kind of always helped, you know.
Yeah.
But, 5 kids was a busy life, yeah. I always had a schedule. I had a calendar. Nowadays, y'all don't use like a handwritten calendar, but
you did have a calendar.
I had a calendar. Yeah. Everything was on the calendar.
So we use our phones now.
We wouldn't show up for practices and games and everything we need to be at. You know what I mean? Yeah. Different school times, different. It was busy. So calendar.
So like 7 people's calendar. Yeah.
I had a calendar, and that was my. Other than my Bible, my most important thing. So,
So you lived by the calendar. You had a good schedule. We could talk all about scheduling.
I think schedule is very important.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, during summertime when kids were out of school, we were off schedule a little, but we still had lunch around noontime and dinner around 5 or 6 and bedtime. Schedules are really important, I think.
Okay, she's being modest. Let's double click into that. For one, she almost always had at least 5 extra children around, whether it was our friends or at one point she ran kind of a daycare out of the house.
We did almost 4 kids all the time.
But also she had, I just remember this as a kid and it still boggles my mind now, especially as a mom.
What's that?
Family dinners. This woman raised 5 kids, always had extra on a farm. Half the time she was in a tractor. And I'm telling you what, I would say probably 5 nights a week we would have family dinners.
Probably most nights we had family dinners. I always
home cooked,
but I always made big pots of stuff you could throw in the oven. But it was important in family time, sitting around the table, and there were 7 of us sitting around the table always. That was the best times. No phone. Well, that's the other thing. Raising kids back then, without all the technology now, was a lot easier. Yeah. There was a lot less distractions. We had a cord phone on the wall, and if it rang during dinner time, we didn't answer it. So.
I remember that. Dinner time, we'd all say that.
And we wouldn't answer the phone. So I think with technology, it's a lot different. People are, not just the kids, but the parents are so wrapped up in technology and phones and so much distraction. You don't have time just to sit and talk and spend time together.
But how important is that?
It's important.
Think back to the memories we made at the dinner table.
Oh, many. Everybody talked about their day and picked jokes at each other a little bit. And it was a really important time, I think.
Yeah.
Very important.
I totally remember that. One of the things I remember the most about my childhood.
Sitting at the dinner?
Yeah, family dinners. I've always said this to her, I can't get my kids, I have 2 kids. I can't even ever figure out how to get, everybody eating at the same time, right? It's baby eats here, Cole eats there, we finally eat.
Yeah, but the other problem, I think, with families nowadays is that everybody eats different things. You know what I mean? You make a certain thing, we'll do chicken nuggets or this or that for the kids, and then we'll eat something different. When I was raising my kids, whatever I made for dinner, everybody ate it. Yeah. There wasn't any, and I think parents nowadays are so much, so-and-so doesn't like this, and so-and-so doesn't like this. You're kind of custom cooking for all of your kids, and that's just not, it's too much time, too much strain, too much effort.
Yeah.
I made one thing and everybody ate it, and that is a problem. But technology is a problem too. Get your kids off their phones to be able to sit down and eat with you.
And have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just talk,
Yeah,
so.
I remember that. We joked, we had fun. Family dinners.
Yeah, we did.
Another thing too is we spent our weekends together a lot.
Right.
I remember that.
Well, when we
at the cottage.
bought the cottage, That was the reason we bought it, so that we could get away from life and work and all those things that, growing up on a farm, obviously there's always work to be done. And so the cottage was a really important thing for getting away from your life for a while. For us up there, I mean, even when we did get cell phones eventually, they didn't work up there.
Yeah.
So that was a way from getting away from technology too, just to be able to spend time together, because you weren't going to be on your phones or on your computer. You're going to go down to the lake. You're going to go fishing. You're going to go ride your dirt bikes. You're going to, and there's not the distraction. So getting away from your life, I think, is really important. And a lot of people don't have the benefit of having a weekend getaway to go to all the time, but even getting away from Airbnb for weekends, just time away from your life.
You were always big on that.
Like, I was always big on getting away,
reconnect.
Yes, you need a break.
We
from
do
your
that.
life.
We found that even just like taking the boys to Florida for a long weekend.
And nowadays,
back is so revived.
But you think about nowadays when people are working from home, and how many times on a Saturday do you just go, I'm just going to go do work for a little while the kids are doing their thing. So even on a Saturday, you're doing some of your office work because you can.
Yeah.
We didn't have that back then. But now it's probably even more important for you to get away from home, get away from your computer, so you can actually, because you can work really pretty much 24/7 nowadays. A lot of people that are working at home have their computers and everything at home.
So disconnect.
Yes,
disconnect to reconnect. Spend time as a family.
Spend time as a family.
That's
disconnect from technology.
Yeah.
I think there's such downfalls with technology too. For kids.
That's like a whole episode.
Oh, that is a whole.
We could do a whole episode.
Yeah,
you should see Mom and I's walks. We walk around the neighborhood when she comes a lot of the time, and we just like solve the world's problems. I'm telling you, or we don't, but we think we are.
Yeah, we are. We are. In our world, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of, Mom is huge on life lessons, and she sprinkled them in all along our childhood. Like your top two for parents, young parents with kids that are in this world of distraction and technology and everything always instant, and like, what are the top two life lessons to focus on teaching your kids?
Wow.
I know these because we talk about them often.
Tough to narrow it to two. Tough to narrow it to two, because there are so many. Wow. I think if you teach your kids, first of all, honesty. I do. I think honesty is the most important. All kids are going to lie. They're going to be dishonest with you as children. They all will, and more than once. And
we're going through that right now.
Letting them, it will happen probably around that age and continue.
And
for
it's like, how do you teach a 3-year-old what a lie is?
That's hard, but they will. Like, you did do that, and you told me that you didn't. You know what I mean? And so I saw you doing it, and but the honesty part, it trickles into so many aspects of their life then. You know what I mean? Because if you're honest, it just leads to having integrity and doing the right thing. So honesty, dishonesty with kids lying starts at a young age. It's so important to let them know how it injures your relationship with them. Like, I can't believe you now. That really hurts me, that I can't believe what you're telling me. You know what I mean? Let them know how it injures your relationship with them and how that disappoints you and hurts your heart. Because it's just so important that they know that honesty ruins relationships. Honesty, ruins your ability to trust them and what they say, and that their word is important, that you can believe them. It affects every aspect, I think, of their life growing up.
I love that you said something right there which is like such an important part, is like the integrity.
It leads to integrity.
Standing on the right side.
Yes. If you are an honest person, you don't live your life in the gray area. Life is black and white. It's either the truth or it's...
were so big on that.
Always. Honesty is the most important thing. It leads to so many other avenues of integrity that are really important.
I think living through that as a child, being raised with that, it became your compass. Like, no matter what, if you teach your kids that, and then they're faced with situations that they're going to be faced with.
Absolutely.
Whether they're in elementary school, middle school, at a high school party, whatever it is. I just remember so specifically, you remember, like, when I was in high school.
When you were in high school and everybody was lying to go to that party. You remember? And they were all telling their parents, we're going to go spend the night at Susie's house and, whatever, and lying about where they were staying. They were all going to go to this field. Susie's staying at Karen's, And you came to me and said, they're all lying about where they're going, and I can't lie to you about it. And
No.
so we hung out that night.
Yeah.
You didn't go, and we just hung out, and that was, by then you were a teenager, and so you had really obviously learned. Obviously, I'm not going to lie to my mom. I can't.
It's huge. Honesty.
Yeah,
integrity.
honesty. Yeah, the other thing I think is, if I had to narrow it down to two, like I said, that's a lot to narrow down of life lessons.
We'll have you back.
Empathy, teaching your kids empathy. And empathy starts when they're young, and learning about their own feelings, helping them to understand if they're feeling sad, and I mean, even you can print things that have different, facial expressions of a crying, a smiling face and a crying face and all that, helping them understand their own feelings. What does that mean? What are you feeling right now? Will lead into them being able to have empathy for other people. And empathy, I think, is so important, because if you have empathy, you're going to treat people right. You're going to think before you speak mean. It's just going to affect every aspect of how you treat others. If you understand your own feelings and care about other people's feelings.
Yeah, because if you understand your own, I get what you're saying there, is then you understand how your behavior causes others to feel.
Yeah, and be able to put yourself in other people's shoes is what empathy is. How would that make me feel? And, how would I feel if, and I used to say it to kids a lot when, you'd be mean to one of the other kids or they'd be mean to you. And I'd say, how would you feel? How would that make you feel?
If you took their tractor or they took your tractor.
Yeah, or they smacked you over the head with the bat or whatever,
We did a whole lot of that.
Yeah, a lot of that. But
Mom always used to say, I can never have anything nice with you kids.
Gosh, everything was broken.
I had with 3 brothers, 3 boys.
We went through a lot of super glue fixing stuff,
And duct tape.
Yeah, for sure.
Empathy, though. That's
empathy.
A big one.
So important.
So how do you...
And you start it with them when you're young. And like I said, even, having a little sheet of pictures, smiley faces, a sad face, a mean face, like you're mad, and then they can learning their own emotions, their own feelings first.
That triggers something for me.
It triggers them to be able to see it and feel it in other people then eventually.
So the emotions, parents of toddlers, they're high. And I think one of the things that we've really tried to do better as parents, and you've talked to us a lot about this, is like, when your kid is freaking out and having a all-out screaming fit, because it's going to happen. If you read about it, it's like their emotions are so high and they don't have the skills yet to deal, right?
They don't know how to deal with that, yeah.
But you're pretty big on discipline. There's a time and place for it. But you're really big on explaining, really kind of containing the emotion and then explaining, probably because of the empathy thing, is well, how are you feeling and why are you feeling that way once they calm down?
Once they calm down, talk to them about what they're so upset about. Sometimes, and with kids, most emotions are just going to come out as anger outbursts. You know what I mean? Whether they're sad or they're
feeling threatened or insecure,
whatever they're feeling. Yeah. It's just they don't know how to handle those emotions. And when they're real little like that, it's kind of hard to teach them. As I said, even the little pictures of smiley faces and crying faces, and and talking to them about those feelings, and so that they can start understanding their feelings. Eventually, will help them to deal with those feelings better than having just meltdowns and having a screaming fit and throwing things or whatever they do to deal with their emotions.
Yeah. Kick and scream.
Kick and scream. Man, we've all been there, right?
Yeah. All right. What about this one? This is maybe the last one, but it kind of actually goes right into this, which is raising confident children. And I know you were big on finding things to let your kids do and then feel that sense of accomplishment and confidence. Especially in a world now where so much is done for us, and there's this instant gratification need that I want everything now, and then there's so much around us that delivers that. So it's what were your tips on raising confident kids? Because I know that goes into so many different things we've talked about a lot.
Well, one of the things that I think about raising confident kids is complimenting them. You're going to get a lot further with kids, even with the misbehaviors and stuff. You can get further with sugar than you are with vinegar. You can get further with rewarding for good behavior than disciplining or reprimanding them for every time they do something wrong. The positive thing is get good reward, about, you look pretty. pretty, or you did a great job at that, or, those kind of things are real confidence builders,
So positive talk.
Yeah, positive talk.
Reward.
And then when they have a failure, it's important kind of to say everybody's not good at everything. There's things you're going to be great at, and there's things you're not going to be so great at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's something that kids have to learn in life too. You're not going to be great other than you at everything you do.
That's because
most people aren't you. Most people aren't you, Car. But anyway.
Oh, apple doesn't fall far, mother.
Yeah, right. I'm not good at everything, believe me. But
She's kind of like could be a lawyer too.
Yeah, some people are great in math, and some people suck at math. It's just and some people
But
are
helping
great
them
at
understand what they're good at and
what they're
not.
great at. But if they fail at something, it's not one of their strengths, and saying that's okay. You're gonna have a lot of great strengths, so they don't beat themselves up. I think complimenting and pushing kids, being their cheerleader, which is a hard thing. I think there's a hard balance between being their disciplinarian. I think it's hard. I think that's why God gave us two parents, because one can be the bad cop and one can be the good cop kind of thing. So it's hard.
I gotta be the bad cop.
It's hard being both. It's hard being the bad cop too.
Really
But then
hard.
you do have to be the one too. You have to. Both parents have to tell them they're doing well or good job at that. You know what I mean? So it's hard being the disciplinarian and the cheerleader. But finding a balance between that is important.
Yeah. We've probably gone over 15
we went
minutes.
over, we said 15, but we could talk all day.
We
see?
could. We will after this. We're just going to stop
if this
recording.
turns out good, this video, then we'll have to do it again.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah. Oh, the best mama. Well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. We hope you enjoyed, maybe learned a thing or two. And in the meantime, be confident, be well, and never forget to pat yourself on the back. You're doing great.
You're doing great.